My Inheritance Secret, the ultimate family betrayal. Before we begin the story, make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss more incredible stories every day. Ms. Patel slid me the key and whispered, "If they see this, they'll ruin you." We stand in the velvet quiet of a bank vault in Riverton, Illinois, and my hands shake so hard the brass key clicks against the steel box. I am still in my city-issued work boots because I came straight from unclogging a storm drain behind a grocery store. That's my life. Fix what breaks, keep things moving, no applause, no networking lunches. My family never understood that kind of work. My mom, Diane, calls it manual busy work. Uncle Grant calls it cute. They show up to funerals in pressed suits and talk about legacy like it's a brand. Diane's favorite joke is that I'm allergic to ambition, like steady pay and honest hours are a character flaw. But today Ms. Patel isn't talking about legacy. She's talking about timelines and traps. "You have 21 days, she says, voice flat, eyes sharp. After that, the contents revert to the estate, and I have to report compliance." Report to who? I ask. Probate court. And if the paperwork here is what I think it is, possibly the state. The funeral home is only 3 blocks away. Everyone thinks I'm grabbing a coffee, taking a breath. If Diane knows I'm here, she'll invent a reason to drag me out by my collar and call it concern. Ms. Patel slides a small envelope across the vault table. My name is typed, not written. Under it, a second line, "Do not disclose to family." "Why are you telling me this alone?" I ask. "Because your grandmother put it in writing," she answers, tapping a sealed instruction sheet. "And because I watched your mother try to charm a court clerk 10 minutes ago." I picture my modest apartment, my beat-up truck, the overtime I take so I can keep a little savings. I picture Diane's smile when she told everyone, "Ethan won't get much. He never needed much." Ms. Patel nods at the box. "Open it. Then decide who you really are." I twist the key, lift the lid, and the first thing on top is a glossy photograph. The photo shows Diane at the hospital bedside, holding a pen. 2 hours earlier, at the funeral home, Diane plays the role of devoted daughter like she's auditioning for something. Her mascara is perfect. Her voice is soft when other people are listening. "We were so close," she tells the room, touching the casket like it's a prop. "Mom always said family is everything." When the crowd thins, her softness goes away. She turns to me and whispers, "Don't wander off today, Ethan. People are watching." "People?" I ask. She smiles without warmth. "Important people." Uncle Grant appears at her shoulder, smelling like expensive cologne and impatience. He claps my back like we're buddies. "Hey kid, rough day? You holding up?" "I'm fine," I say. He leans closer anyway. "We'll handle the paperwork. You just stay out of the grown-up stuff." I bite down on a reply because this isn't the place. The funeral director wheels a cart of flowers past us, and Diane's face flickers. Not grief, calculation. Her eyes dart to Grandma's handbag sitting on a side table beside a stack of sympathy cards. I notice because the bag is open. Inside, the little leather checkbook is gone, and the card stack looks disturbed. I step closer, pretending I'm straightening a note. The zipper tab is bent like someone yanked it fast. Diane watches me watch it. "What are you doing?" she asks, still smiling for the last few guests. "Just making sure nothing gets lost," I say. "Nothing will get lost," she replies, too quickly, and her hand closes around my wrist. Her grip is tight, nails biting skin. "You worry too much. That's why you're stuck where you are." Grant chuckles, but his eyes don't match his laugh. "Your mom's right. Let the professionals handle it." On the way out, I see Ms. Patel near the hallway, speaking to a clerk from the courthouse. Diane's head snaps toward them like a dog hearing a whistle. Then Diane steps behind a pillar, opens her coat, and slides something flat inside. I see the corner of a folded document stamped in red. Ms. Patel catches me in the parking lot while Diane is posing for hugs by the hearse. "Ethan," she says, like she's trying not to say it too loudly. A moment. I follow her to her car because I don't trust my family's ears. The air smells like wet asphalt and lilies. She opens her briefcase and pulls out a folder with my name on the tab. "You're not listed as a primary beneficiary in the will your mother filed," she says. "But your grandmother established a separate instrument, confidential, naming you as the sole recipient." My mouth goes dry. "So, she did leave me something." "She left you protection," Ms. Patel replies. "Money is the least of it." She slides me a small key on a cheap plastic tag. No fancy engraving. Just numbers. 0917. A safe deposit box at First Lake Bank, she continues. In your name only. You can access it with ID. The condition is time-sensitive. How time-sensitive? 17 days, she says. From today. That's insane. It's deliberate, she answers. Your grandmother believed someone close to her would move fast after her death. I think of Diane's hand on my wrist, the missing checkbook, Grant's smug smile. My pulse starts doing that heavy thud behind my ears. Ms. Patel hands me a sealed envelope, my name printed dead center. This explains the condition. Do not open it where anyone can see. I laugh once, sharp and humorless. My mom thinks I can't keep track of my own bills. Ms. Patel's expression doesn't change. Your mother thinks a lot of things when she's in control. What happens if I don't do it in time? I ask. The contents revert to the estate, she says. And I am required to disclose the existence of the box to the court. To the court means to Diane. To Diane means to Grant. And to Grant means to whoever he owes. I slip the key into my pocket, deep, like I'm hiding a match. Ms. Patel's hand rests on the envelope. Ethan, before you leave, promise me you'll read this alone. Because the first line of the letter is already visible through the paper. I make it home before Diane can corner me, but she still shows up that evening like she has a key to my front door. Grant follows, carrying a leather portfolio and that same fake friendly grin. Surprise, Diane sings, stepping into my small apartment and looking around like she's judging a rental listing. We thought we'd save you the stress. I didn't ask for help, I say. Grant sets the portfolio on my kitchen table, right next to my half-fixed toaster. This is simple stuff, he says. We just need your signature so we can expedite probate. Everyone wins. Diane slides a pen toward me. You sign? We don't have to drag you into court. It's a kindness. I stare at the header. Disclaimer of interest. Below that, authorization to release records. Why would I disclaim anything? I ask. Diane's smile stays in place, but her eyes harden. Because you're not equipped to handle an estate, Ethan. You can barely handle your own life. Grant taps the paper. It's standard. You don't want to be responsible for debts. Estates have liabilities. I flip to the back page. There's a line about indemnifying the executor. Meaning, if something blows up, it lands on me. No, I say. The room goes quiet in a way that feels sharp. Diane's voice drops. Don't be dramatic. I'm not, I answer. I'm reading. Grant's grin thins. Reading is good. Just remember, probate gets messy. Judges don't like difficult heirs. I'm not being difficult, I say. I'm being careful. Diane steps closer until I can smell her perfume over my cheap dish soap. Careful is what people call it when they don't trust their own mother. I hold her gaze. Then why are you here, uninvited, at night, with papers you want me to sign? Grant's hand lands on the portfolio like he might close it, like this is over. Last chance, kid. Diane's smile returns, sweeter. Sign, and we stay a family. I push the pen back. No. Grant leans in, voice low enough to feel like a threat pressed to skin. We can make you disappear in probate if you keep this up. The next morning I call in late to work, tell my supervisor I have family legal stuff. He laughs, because in our department the biggest drama is usually a raccoon in a storm culvert. First Lake Bank sits between a nail salon and a discount pharmacy. It feels wrong that something secret would live somewhere this ordinary. At the counter I say, I need access to box 0917. My voice cracks on the numbers. The banker checks my ID, then nods. Only you are authorized, she says. She leads me past a keypad door into a gray room with a camera in the corner and a table bolted to the floor. She slides a long metal drawer toward me and leaves. Box 0917. My palms sweat as I lift the lid. Inside is a stack of photocopied documents, bound with a rubber band gone dry with age. There's also a cassette tape in a clear sleeve, labeled in block letters, for Ethan. A folded property deed sits under it, and a cashier's check stub peeks out. The deed is for my grandmother's house, the modest brick one I mowed every summer. The grantee line isn't Diane. It isn't Grant. It's me. The county stamp reads filed 08/22, months before she died. The cashier's check stub shows $112,500 payable to G&D Holdings LLC, issued March 14th. Grant loves holdings when he wants to sound important. On top, a note on plain paper. Ethan, if you're reading this, they already started. My chest tightens. I read fast, like speed will protect me. The note lists dates and amounts. March 14th, $48,200 transfer. 06/02, $19,000 cash withdrawal. 07/19, $6,500 consulting. Each line ends with the same two initials, D. M. Diane. Under the list, one sentence is underlined 3 times. Check the codicil. It is not mine. I flip through the copies. Bank statements with official stamps. A notary page with a signature that looks like my grandmother's, but wrong, like someone drew it from memory. My hands find the tape again. I should walk out and pretend none of this exists. Instead, I press play. Static. Then a woman's voice, close to the microphone. Not my grandmother's. My mother's. Grant, Diane says. If Ethan ever finds out, we're finished. By lunch, Diane acts like last night never happened. She leaves a voicemail in her concerned mom voice. Ethan, honey, call me back. I'm worried you're spiraling. Spiraling. That's the word people use when they want to pre-label your reactions as irrational. Then the texts start, not just from her. Caleb, you okay? Your mom just messaged me. Caleb again. She says you're confused about the will and stressed at work. I call him. Did she really message you? Yeah, Caleb says. She asked if you've been sleeping. Like she's building a case. I swallow hard. I found something. Tell me where you are, he says immediately. Not what. Where? At 3 o'clock, my neighbor knocks. Your mom stopped by, she says. She said she's scared you might hurt yourself. I'm not. I say, too sharply, and I see the neighbor's eyes flick down like she's checking for evidence of instability. That night, Diane posts a photo from the funeral with a caption, praying for my son during this hard time. Some people grieve differently. The comments fill with hearts and stay strong mama, and one that makes my skin crawl. Maybe he shouldn't be alone. Grant calls right after. Hey kid, he says, voice velvet. Your mom's just worried. Probate is stressful. You mean theft is stressful? I snap. He goes quiet, then sighs like I'm a disappointment. Listen, you're emotional. Don't do anything stupid. There are ways to settle this privately. Like making me sign away rights. I ask. You don't even know what rights you have, he says. You don't understand money. I look at the tape on my kitchen counter, at the stamped bank statements. I understand lying. A pause. Then Diane's voice comes on the line. She's clearly listening on speaker. Ethan, please. Come to dinner tomorrow. Let's talk like adults. That's when I realize they're not trying to convince me. They're trying to create a paper trail that I'm unwell. And the next morning my supervisor calls, sounding uneasy. Ethan, why are 2 officers asking if you're okay? The police wellness check is polite, but humiliating. They stand on my porch while Diane watches from her SUV across the street like a director checking a scene. Sir, your family expressed concern, one officer says. I'm fine. I reply, forcing my voice steady. Ask them why they're so eager for me to sign documents. The officer's eyes flick to Diane's car. This is a civil matter, he says, already backing away. After they leave, I drive straight to the county courthouse on my lunch break. My hands still smell like asphalt patch from the morning job, and the security guard looks at my reflective vest like I wandered into the wrong building. In the records office, I request the probate file. The clerk prints a receipt and slides a folder across the counter. The first page hits me like a slap. Petition for probate, filed by Diane M. The date is 5 days after my grandmother's death. The second page is worse. A new codicil, dated 2 weeks before she died, leaving the house to Diane and business assets to Grant. My name appears once, under personal effects. Miss Patel was right. They moved fast. I take pictures, then compare the codicil signature to an old holiday card I still have in my wallet. Same loops, but the pressure is different. The codicil signature looks traced, too careful. I call Miss Patel from the hallway. The codicil exists, I tell her. I expected that, she says. Did you see who notarized it? I flip to the notary block. It's a private notary, not bank. Name's here. Ms. Patel exhales. Get the notary log. Today. By 4 o'clock, I'm outside a small shipping store where the notary works. The owner recognizes Diane's name before I even finish my sentence. Oh, she says, suddenly stiff. Your mother and Grant were here. They brought an older woman in a wheelchair. My stomach drops. Was it my grandmother? The owner hesitates. I didn't really see her face. Grant did all the talking. Do you keep a log? I ask. She points to a binder behind the counter. We have to. When she opens it to the date on the codicil, my breath catches. The signature line reads my grandmother's name, but the ID listed is mine. I stare at that notary log until the words blur. They used your ID? Ms. Patel asks when I show her the photo. They didn't just use it, I say. They wrote it down like it was normal. Caleb meets me after work at a diner off Route 9, the kind with sticky menus and bottomless coffee. I slide my phone across the table with the log picture. He whistles low. That's criminal. Yeah, I say. But here's the part that scares me. If they put my ID on a codicil, what else did they put my name on? Caleb pulls up a credit monitoring app and makes me sign in. I've never bothered. My life is simple. Rent, gas, groceries, occasional tool purchase. No loans, no fancy anything. The screen loads. Then a red alert pops up. New inquiry. Home equity line of credit. I don't own a home. My credit score sits there like a stranger's face wearing my name. The inquiry date is last month. Lender, First Lake Bank. My chest tightens as if someone wrapped a belt around my ribs. I call the bank from the parking lot and get transferred 3 times before a woman in risk finally speaks. Mr. Hale, she says, careful and professional. There is a HELIC application associated with your social security number. I didn't apply for anything, I say. She pauses. The collateral address is your grandmother's property. I lean my forehead against the steering wheel. How much? Requested amount. $284,000, she replies. Approved pending final signatures. Final signatures. Like a codicil. Like a wheelchair in a notary shop. MS. Patel texts as I'm still on the phone. Do not confront them yet. Save everything. Save everything. Like I'm collecting proof of my own life being stolen. When I hang up, Caleb looks at me through the windshield. Ethan, he mouths, because he can't hear, but I can read it. What would you do if they ruin you? My hands shake as another notification hits my phone. It isn't an inquiry this time. It's an account opened in my name. I don't open MS. Patel's envelope until midnight, after I double-check my curtains and turn off my phone's speaker setting like paranoia, is suddenly a hobby. The letter inside is dated 6 months ago. My grandmother's voice comes through even on paper, direct, no fluff, like she's giving instructions for a repair job. Ethan, if you are reading this, Diane and Grant tried to rewrite my life. She explains probate in plain language. A will is one thing, but a codicil can amend it, unless it's forged. She says she suspected Diane was taking money for years and that Grant's consulting invoices were a joke. Then she writes the line that makes my stomach flip. They used your identity because they believe you won't fight back. My fingers cramp around the page. I think about every time Diane called me easygoing, like it was a compliment. I think about Grant's hand on my shoulder at the funeral, guiding me away from grown-up stuff. Then comes the condition. A trust, already funded, already separate. Amount, $463,000. She lists where it came from. The sale of my late grandfather's truck route, a CD she renewed every year, and a life insurance policy Diane forgot to mention. But I only receive it if I do 2 things before the deadline. Provide Ms. Patel and the court proof the codicil is fraudulent. File an identity theft report to stop any loan using my name. If I don't, the trust goes to the Riverton Parks Department, so at least something honest grows. I sit there, stunned, realizing my grandmother bet on my spine, not my status. I'm not sure what hurts more, the theft or the fact she expected it. At the bottom, taped neatly, is a copy of an old hospital record. My birth record. I grew up with a simple story. My father wasn't in the picture, and asking questions made Diane cry. The father line on my birth certificate was always complicated. This copy isn't complicated. It's worse. The father line has a name typed, then crossed out in thick black ink. Under the black ink, Grant Mercer's name stared back at me. I shouldn't go to Diane's dinner. Every instinct says no. But Ms. Patel's text is clear. Don't confront, don't spook them. And part of me wants to look my mother in the face and see if she even flinches. Her house in the suburbs smells like lemon cleaner and stage perfection. Even the candles smell rehearsed. Family photos line the hallway, smiles, vacations, a childhood that looks happier in frames than it ever felt in real time. Diane kisses my cheek like we're on camera. There he is, she says loudly. My strong boy. Grant is already at the table, swirling ice in a glass. Ethan, he says, too cheerful. Sit. Eat. We're going to clear the air. I take the chair farthest from them and keep my phone recording in my pocket. Not for court, just so I can't be gaslit later. Diane places a plate in front of me. We're worried, she says, voice soft. Ms. Patel has you all spun up. You mean Ms. Patel has documents? I reply. Grant laughs. Documents can say anything. People misunderstand legal language all the time. Diane reaches across the table and touches my hand. Honey, you're tired. Your job is physical. You're not used to thinking about estates. Let us handle it. I pull my hand back. I'm thinking fine. Grant's smile tightens. Then think about this. If you fight us, you'll spend years in court. You'll lose work. You'll lose friends. You'll lose your peace. And if I don't fight? I ask. Diane sighs, like I'm forcing her to be cruel. Then you keep your life simple, like you like it. My appetite turns to dust. I almost hear my grandmother's letter. They believe you won't fight back. Diane stands to get dessert and brushes behind my chair, fingers grazing my jacket pocket. Grant watches, eyes glued to that movement. A minute later, my phone buzzes. Caleb, don't leave anything in your truck. They're looking. Cold hits my spine. I excuse myself, walk outside, and unlock my glove box. The envelope is still there, but the small brass key is not. I don't go back inside. I sit in my truck with the engine off, hands locked on the steering wheel, and I force myself to breathe slow. If they took the key, they have the box number. They have 17 days too. Then I remember something stupid and lucky. When Ms. Patel handed me the key tag, I snapped a photo of it for insurance. Like the guy who fixes streetlights could outsmart a lawyer. The photo shows the tag number and, behind it, the faint outline of a second key on the ring. Because I made a copy at a hardware store that afternoon, embarrassed by my own paranoia, I drive home, grab the copy from my toolbox, and text Ms. Patel, I have access. We need them in a room. Her reply is immediate. Good. Do not tell cause yet. The next day, she sets a family inventory meeting at her office. She emails Diane and Grant with polite legal language, review assets, confirm signatures, discuss lien concerns. She CCs a compliance officer from First Lake Bank and attaches a request for original notarized documents. Translation: bring the fake codicil in front of witnesses. Caleb insists on coming. If they try to paint you unstable, he says, you need a normal human in the room. In the morning, we stop at the bank first. A teller recognizes me and lowers her voice. Someone asked about your box, she says. A woman. She said she was your mother. My jaw clenches. Did she get anything? No, she answers. She got angry, though, like she's used to doors opening. Ms. Patel meets us at her office downtown, in a building that smells like old carpet and new anxiety. She slides me a printed checklist. No improvising, she says. Let them talk. Let them commit. What if they don't show? I ask. They will, she replies. People who steal hate uncertainty more than consequences. At 2 o'clock, Diane's SUV pulls up. Grant's sedan follows like a shadow. They walk in smiling, dressed for court, not family. Diane stops in the lobby and lifts a thick folder. Ethan, she calls sweetly, I brought what you misplaced. She sets it on the table and turns the cover toward Ms. Patel. Across the front, in black marker, is my full name. MS. Patel doesn't touch Diane's folder. She lets it sit there like a live wire. Thank you for coming, she says evenly. Before we begin, I want to confirm attendance for the record. Diane beams. Of course. Grant nods at the bank compliance officer, a quiet man in a suit who looks like he eats stress for breakfast. Happy to clear things up, Grant says. Ms. Patel opens her laptop and projects a single image onto the conference room screen, the notary log page. Diane's smile flickers. What is that? A state-required log, Ms. Patel replies. From the notary who stamped your codicil. Grant shrugs. So, Ms. Patel clicks again. A close-up of the ID line appears, clear as day. Ethan Hale, driver's license. Number ending 4421. The compliance officer leans forward. Mr. Hale, he says to me, did you provide ID for a codicil signing? No, I say. Diane laughs. Too high. This is ridiculous. He's confused. He's been under pressure. Ms. Patel cuts in. We're not finished. She pulls up bank records next. A cashier's check stub for $112,500 to G&D Holdings LLC, dated March 14th, with a First Lake stamp. Then a wire confirmation. $48,200 to an account ending 7719, beneficiary named Diane M. Grant's jaw tightens. Those are business expenses. From your mother's personal account? The compliance officer asks. Ms. Patel clicks again. A HELIC application summary appears, printed from the bank. Collateral address, my grandmother's house. Applicant, Ethan Hale. Requested, $284,000. The compliance officer's voice turns hard. This application is fraudulent. Diane's face drains, then hardens into anger. He probably did it himself. He's trying to frame us. Caleb speaks for the first time. Diane, I watched Ethan log into his credit for the first time yesterday. Grant's chair scrapes. This is a setup. Ms. Patel holds up the cassette tape like it's a scalpel. One more item from the safe deposit box. Diane's eyes snap to it, fast and hungry. Ms. Patel places it into a small player and presses play. Static. Then Diane's own voice fills the room. Grant, if Ethan ever finds out, we're finished. Grant's smile vanishes when Ms. Patel rewinds and presses play again. Everything happens fast after that, like a dam breaking. The compliance officer stands up. I'm contacting our fraud unit, he says, already dialing. MS. Patel slides papers across the table. An emergency motion to freeze transfers, a request for a handwriting comparison, a notice of contested codicil. Diane's voice turns sharp enough to cut. You're doing this to your own mother? I'm stopping you from doing it to me, I say, surprised by how calm I sound. Grant points at Ms. Patel. You can't prove intent. Ms. Patel doesn't blink. Intent is in the timeline. Intent is in the pattern. Intent is in the recording where you discuss Ethan by name. Diane lunges for the tape player like she can swallow the evidence. Caleb steps between us, palms up. Don't, he warns. Grant grabs Diane's arm. We're leaving, he says, suddenly controlled, like the mask has been replaced by pure survival. Outside, Diane hisses at me through her teeth. You think you won. You don't know what I can take from you. Try, I say, and my voice shakes now, the delayed fear catching up. By evening, Ms. Patel emails me the court's response. Temporary restraining order against transferring the property, hearing set in 9 days. The bank freezes the HELIC application and flags the new accounts under my SSN. Relief should feel clean. It doesn't. It feels like nausea. At work the next day, my supervisor pulls me aside near the maintenance garage. Ethan, he says, avoiding my eyes. Your mom called City HR. My stomach drops. About what? He sighs. She said you're unstable and handling weapons at work. I laugh, because the only weapon I touched that week was a shovel. But rumors don't need facts. They just need repetition. That night my phone fills with unknown numbers. One voicemail is Diane crying. The next is Grant, cold. You can still fix this if you stop. I don't sleep. I sit on my couch with the papers spread out like a war map. Near midnight, there's a soft scrape at my front door. When I open it, a man is already walking away, and an envelope lies on the mat. Final warning is written across it in block letters. I don't open the envelope alone. Caleb comes over with coffee and his no-nonsense face. Ms. Patel joins on speakerphone because she doesn't trust surprises any more than I do. Read it out loud, she tells me. Inside is a single page, no letterhead, just typed lines. Withdraw your objection or we will petition for conservatorship. Caleb's eyebrows shoot up. They want to legally declare you incompetent? Ms. Patel's voice stays calm. It's a common intimidation tactic. It rarely works, but it creates fear and paperwork. Fear is exactly what it creates. I picture Diane sitting in a courtroom crying about her troubled son, while Grant nods solemnly beside her. No, I say, and it comes out like a vow. Not anymore. Ms. Patel gives me a checklist that feels like armor. File a police report for identity theft. Freeze credit at all 3 bureaus. Request the bank's fraud affidavit in writing. Move all communication to email. Install a door camera. No meetings without counsel and a witness. Then she adds something softer. Get support that isn't legal, she says. Court will handle evidence. You need to handle stress. So I do. I schedule therapy. I tell my supervisor the truth before Diane can twist it. I hand City HR the police report number and Ms. Patel's contact info. For the first time in my life, I stopped trying to be easy. Diane sends a long email at 2:11 a.m. It's a masterpiece of guilt. I raised you. I sacrificed. You're humiliating me. Grant adds a line at the end. We can settle if you sign. I reply with one sentence. Ms. Patel approves. All communication through counsel. 9 days later, at the courthouse, I sit straight and quiet while Diane performs grief again. This time the judge's eyes don't soften. The bank's affidavit is on file. The notary logs are attached. The timeline is a noose. After the hearing, Ms. Patel pulls me aside. Her expression is tight, almost annoyed, like someone just moved the goalposts. They filed a new claim against the trust, she says quietly. The funny thing about inheritance is that people treat it like a gift from the dead, when really it's a test for the living. I used to think family meant endurance, taking the jokes, swallowing the insults, keeping the peace even when the peace was built on me staying small. My grandmother's secret trust didn't just hand me money. It handed me a mirror and said, look at what they're willing to do and decide what you're willing to accept. The court fight isn't cinematic. It's boring and brutal. Filings, continuances, nights where your brain won't stop replaying conversations. Diane tries new masks, apology, rage, martyrdom. Grant tries charm, then threats, then silence. What changes is me. I keep everything in writing. I don't sign anything without counsel. I don't meet alone. I learned that family loyalty is a phrase people weaponize when they're out of real arguments. I also answer the question my whole childhood avoided. Caleb sits with me at my kitchen table while I open a DNA result email, my hands shaking like they did in that vault. The match is there in black and white, and the shock doesn't fix anything. It just makes the betrayal sharper. The trust survives the new claim because Ms. Patel anticipated it. The judge orders an accounting of every transfer. The bank's fraud unit opens a case. My credit is frozen. My name is mine again. I use part of the money exactly the way my grandmother hinted, on something honest. I take a week off and help my crew rebuild a playground in a neglected park. New mulch, fixed swings, fresh paint. No plaques. No speeches. Just kids laughing where rust used to be. If you're watching this because your own family is pressuring you after a death, here's the practical takeaway. Don't sign in grief. Pull the filings yourself, document everything, and get a professional who isn't afraid of them.